For too long, we as women have been told to achieve our goals, we have to sacrifice our health, families, and our sanity. And if you're tired of the rise and grind mentality done by trying to be the perfect boss babe and ready to thrive without burning out, you are in the right place, because true success is never built from an empty cup. I'm your hostess, SaCola Lehr, work-life harmony strategist and author. And this is Work It, Live It, Own It, the podcast that takes you from burnout to brilliance. One of the many problems that we face today is that we are conditioned to view our body's warning signs as inconveniences rather than vital information. Let's face it, we treat exhaustion, brain fog, and physical pain as obstacles to push through. We've even normalized the rise and grind mentality so deeply that when our bodies beg us for rest, we respond with more caffeine, energy drinks, tighter schedules, and even a deeper sense of guilt for not being able to keep up with everything. But here's the truth. Your body is not the enemy. It is one of the most honest advisors that you can have in your life and career. And when you ignore its whispers, it will eventually start to yell. Today, we're going to be having an honest conversation about something that so many of us try to ignore until we literally cannot take it anymore. And we're talking about burnout, specifically the warning signs that our body gives us and why we need to listen to them before your body makes the decision to stop for you. Now, typically, my podcast, even my book, has been targeted strictly for women, but let's face it, I have male listeners on the podcast and viewers on YouTube, and we all have to deal with the messy middle in life and career. And if you have ever felt like you are running on fumes but can't afford to slow down, then this episode is for you. And stick with me until the end to make sure that you are able to download this and share this with your closest friends who need to hear it. So without further ado, let's dive in. Now, the real question is, if we want to really get down to the nitty-gritty, is why do we do this? Why do we keep pushing ourselves past exhaustion? If you take a look in the mirror, the questions that you really have to ask yourself, is it really me that's pushing myself? Or am I trying to meet society's expectations of what success is supposed to look like? And a lot of times, you may find that the answer is because society rewards output. We're praised for being the person who can do it all. You know, the woman who can do it all, who can handle it all, or the man with the plan. We have bought into this toxic idea that success requires sacrifice. Specifically, the sacrifice of our health, peace, and our family time. We convince ourselves that we are in a temporary survival mode season. We do this by conning and tricking ourselves by saying, hey, just let me get through this project. Just let me get the kids through this semester. Just let me hit this revenue goal. And then I will rest. But survival mode becomes addictive. And if you're not careful, the hustle mentality that saves you in a crisis will eventually break you in life and in business. And sometimes we have to look at our goals and what we want to do and incorporate times for relaxation, rejuvenation, and recreation while we are meeting those goals. So I'll give you a prime example of this. I would tell my real estate clients, hey, we're not just going to celebrate at the end. Any time I would take my clients on a home tour and they decided, hey, I'm going to put an offer on the house. One thing I would tell them is go get your favorite treat. You just have taken a huge step, especially if they're a first-time home buyer. Even if you have bought a home before and it may have been decades and you're just out here in the market again for the first time, take this time to reward yourself because you just made a huge decision. Reward yourself along the way. Don't wait to the finish line to say, hey, I'll reward myself later. Because Sometimes that makes the journey frustrating and aggravating. And a lot of times when we don't take time to stop and reward ourselves, our bodies for sticking with us, we become exhausted. And when we do reach that end goal, it doesn't feel as good as we thought it would. And I know this because I've lived it. I have been on the cusp of burnout so many times, and I've had to bring myself back and recenter and refocus. And I recently shared this story on Chase Friedman's podcast, In Pursuit of Purpose. And I really strongly encourage you to check out his podcast. And it is the exact catalyst that led me to write my book, Harmony Hustle for Women. And, I was running my business, managing my household, and pushing myself to the absolute limit. And hey, I called it being resilient. I thought this was just what needed to be done. This is what had to be done. But you know what? My body knew better. I started with fatigue, then this persistent cough, this lingering cough I couldn't ignore, until finally it turned into walking pneumonia. And not just walking pneumonia, 4 months of walking pneumonia. We're talking about 4 rounds of antibiotics, 3 rounds of steroids. I couldn't shake it no matter what I did. And I kept trying. No sooner than the doctor said my lungs were clear, I'm heading back to work. I even asked for abbreviated days. And my boss was so gracious, she allowed me to have abbreviated work days. But guess what? That walking pneumonia hung on for dear life. And most recently, I've shared this recently with you guys about 6 or 7 months ago, I started to lose my mobility and I could not do the simple everyday tasks. And it took me down. And my body finally said, hey, if you will not rest, I will choose for you. And let me tell you, there is nothing more humbling in your life when you can't even open up your own tube of toothpaste and barely brush your teeth. That's humility. And I had to learn the hard way so many times in my youth and in adulthood that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And you certainly cannot build a sustainable legacy on a foundation of exhaustion. So if you're pushing yourself because you have business goals, you have career goals, you have family goals, you want to leave a legacy for your children, let me tell you, you have to learn how to prioritize your well-being first, not as an afterthought, but as a core strategy for your success in whatever you do. And any goals that you want to accomplish can be achieved, but it's going to take one goal at a time. And I would strongly encourage you to start with very small goals. I'm talking about saving a certain amount of money or maybe even paying off a bill. Simple thing like paying off your debt. You start with the smallest bill first. And some may say, no, start with the one with the most interest. Here's why I say start with the smallest bill first is because once you see that bill paid off, guess what? Now you can take that money that you're using to pay that bill to apply it to the next smallest bill. And you build the snowball effect. You're building momentum. You're seeing goals being achieved. I want you to look at your goals the same way. Start small. Start with a short-term goal. And let's be honest, life is going to do what it's going to do. You're going to have ebbs and flows. So if you think, okay, I have 3 months to achieve this goal, say it may be I want to get my license, whether it's your esthetician license, whether it's your real estate license, whatever it may be. And you say in 3 months, I want to achieve this goal. Well, you know the time and framework that it's going to take you to get your coursework done, right? So you may say it may take 3 to 6 months. All right. Then set that as your short-term goal. And now what is going to be your next goal? You can also have long-term goals as well. But in a society where we are so used to getting things at a click of a button, especially in our AI generation right now, realize that life is not run by AI. It's not run by artificial intelligence. Our health is not going to be ran by artificial intelligence. But the reality is things are going to take time. So don't get disappointed if you don't reach your goals in the timely manner that you thought you would at first. They're still there. They're still achievable. And guess what? You are never late. It is never too late. So my question for you is, what are the warning signs for you? Is it a short temper? Is it waking up exhausted after 8 hours of sleep? Is it a physical ache in your body that you're feeling that just will not go away? I don't want you to wait for walking pneumonia. And I definitely don't want you to wait for a crisis. I want you to take a moment today to identify what your body is trying to tell you. Remember, you can accomplish your goals and your dreams without forsaking your family, your health, and your well-being. True success is not always about sacrifice. It's about moving from burnout to brilliance. And if you're ready to step out of the hustle mentality and learn the exact framework that I've used to rebuild my life and career, my book, Harmony Hustle for Women, is available now on various stores, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, wherever you can find it. It is in ebook and paperback format. You'll see that in the link in the show notes below. And it's also going to walk you through the prone framework that I created for myself, starting with how to prioritize and rejuvenate. And I will also put the link to my full conversation with Chase Friedman down below. Until next time, guys, remember that you can work it, live it, own it in your everyday lives without burnout. Take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. If this episode gave you a moment of clarity, or if you heard exactly what you needed to hear, please follow this show, leave a review, and share it with someone who is navigating their own messy middle. And remember, your well-being is your wealth. To dive deeper into the prone framework and grab your copy of The Harmony Hustle for Women, head on over to SaCola Lehr.com. Until next time, work it, live it, own it in your everyday lives.